Hi, everyone. Welcome to our application workshop. We're going to get started in a few minutes. If you want to go ahead and drop in the chat where you are joining us from today, that would be great. So for everyone who's joining now, welcome to our application workshop. We are going to get started in a few seconds, but if you want to drop in the chat where you're joining us from today, that would be great. Thank you. Argentina. Kay from the Netherlands. Ibiza, Amsterdam, Finland. Okay, wow. Welcome, everyone. France, Netherlands, US, Austria. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. And if everyone has questions during the presentation, we kindly ask that you put them in the chat, and then we will answer them as soon as possible. We'll get started in just a few seconds. And once again, for everyone who's just now entering, welcome to our application workshop. We will get started in just a moment, but if you want to put in the chat where you are joining us from, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Awesome. So I think we're good to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. My name is Grace Glancy, and I am the Student Services Officer at ISEP for programs in continental Europe that are non-French or Spanish speaking. And I am joined by my colleague, Rachel, who I will hand it over to introduce herself.
Yes, thanks, Grace. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Brown. I work as the Student Services Officer for programs in Asia here at ISEP.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. And once again, if anyone has any questions during the presentation, we kindly ask that you drop them in the chat box. So what are we going to cover during today's presentation? We are going to discuss how to submit an ISEP application. We are going to discuss strategies for a competitive application, as well as who you should contact for application help. So at ISEP, we focus on our key ideas of making programs accessible and affordable for all students, providing you opportunities and experiences to immerse yourself in your host university, your host community, and your host country. So how does ISEP work? We have two program types at ISEP. We have ISEP Direct and we have ISEP Exchange. So for ISEP Direct, you pay a specific program fee that's listed on the program page with flexible housing and meal options. Your placement is guaranteed on ISEP Direct programs as long as you meet the academic requirements listed on the program page. For ISEP Exchange, placement is not guaranteed on ISEP Exchange programs. You pay your home university's tuition, housing, and meals, and you can list up to 10 sites on your application. Placement on ISEP Exchange programs depend on your program rankings and space available on those programs. And if you have any questions on what programs are best for you, program type, we kindly ask that you reach out to your home ISEP coordinator. So how to apply? You can create an account at isep.org/apply, which we will drop the link in the chat. We encourage you, as I mentioned, to meet with your on-campus ISEP coordinator at your home university as soon as possible, as they will be able to answer any campus-specific questions, and they will ultimately be the ones to approve your application. Your ISEP student services officers, such as myself and Rachel, can meet with you one-on-one through advising meetings to answer questions about programs, courses, and the application process and overview, as well as answer any questions you may have over email. Okay, so now we are going to do a few polls. So first we want to know, where are you interested in studying abroad? So we're going to launch the poll now, and we kindly ask that you choose from one of these options. So this can be where you're most interested in studying abroad at the moment.
We've got almost everybody in. All right.
All right, let's see the answers.
Oh, looks like we've got Some folks for Asia and Africa and the Middle East, a lot of folks interested in Europe, some in USA or Canada, a little bit in Latin America, and a few in Australia. Great.
Awesome. That's super exciting. In our next poll, we want to know, where are you currently in the application process? So you haven't started yet? Are you working on it? Are you almost done? Or have you already submitted? Just give it a few seconds.
Great. So it looks like about half of you haven't started yet. So this is a great place to start in the application workshop. Some of you are working on it, some of you are almost done, and a few of you have already submitted. Congrats, that's exciting.
That is super exciting. And once again, if you have any questions, if you haven't yet started, we encourage you to create your ISEP account and go ahead and start your application after our workshop today. And please let us know if you have any questions. And now I am going to hand it over to Rachel to discuss how to submit an ISEP application.
Thank you, Grace. And so next we'll talk step by step on how to submit an application. And we also have some helpful photos too as a visual guide along the way. And so first you can log in on our main landing page by hitting the button in the top right corner that says log in. And then if you've already created an ISEP account, you can just log back in with your information. But if you haven't, you can also sign up for an account by inputting your name, your email, and phone number. And you want to be sure to indicate your current home institution and your primary region of interest so you can be paired with the student services officer who can best assist you with your questions. And then when you log into your ISEP account, you'll see this main ISEP dashboard. This is where you're going to find important information about your ISEP program throughout your study abroad journey. At the top of the dashboard, you'll see information about your home university ISEP coordinator. This is going to be somebody on your campus who usually works at your study abroad office or international office, and they are going to assist you while you're starting and looking for programs that you want to apply for. And then below that, you'll find the contact information for your ISEP student services officer. This is somebody at the ISEP Global office who will support you through the application process. And so from here, you can click the application button under enrollment menu to go to the application page. To begin an ISEP application, you can hit the Start Application button, but your home university might require students to request permission to start their application. And so in that case, you want to hit Request Permission to send a request to your home university ISEP coordinator, and so you can notify them of your interest to apply to ISEP. And you'll only be able to start your application once you receive that permission from your home university ISEP coordinator. And then next, you can hit the orange edit button to start editing your ISEP application. And then from this page, you can also keep track of your progress as you're working on your application by hitting the view remaining steps. And you're gonna wanna make sure that everything is checked off before the deadline and that you're following everything before you reach that deadline. And so we also have a YouTube video on how to start an ISEP application that we'll also share in the chat. And you can view this in your own free time when you're ready. Okay, so once you start editing your ISEP application, you want to hit program lists to start looking for programs to add onto your application. The search for more programs hyperlink is going to take you to our ISEP program finder. And this tool will help you add programs that you're interested in onto your application. And so we're going to go over how to navigate the ISEP program finder in a moment, but we also have a video on how to add ISEP programs to your application that we'll share so you can go over the instructions later after the workshop. Okay, so here you'll find this is our ISEP program finder, and you can use this program finder to filter programs that you want to look for your chosen criteria or through your chosen criteria for different things like field of study, where you want to go, and more. And so once you click on a program from this page, you can add it to your application. And there's also a lot of other advanced filters as well to help narrow down your search even more for things like GPA and also campus size, and they can be found under the More Filters tab while you're looking through the program finder. And we also have another YouTube video on other tips and tricks that you can use to while you're using the program finder, and we have also put that in the chat so you can use that later as well. To add a program to your application, you first want to put your search criteria in the top bar. You'll then see a full list of programs that match the filters that you put in. And you can also hit the detail view as well to see a full table of all results. And then you can even export that table if you want to see it later in like an Excel document. And so pressing one of the program names from this list will take you to that program page. Later, we're also going to go over some strategies too on what you should look for when you're searching for programs and how to make sure that you have a good list on your application. So once you click on a program and it takes you to the program page, you can read through about the overview of the program, see information about the courses, also learn more about the benefits that are included and other relevant information for you to know if you want to attend as an exchange student. And so you can scroll to the bottom of the page and find the semesters and prices. And then you can select a term and you'll see two buttons on the right side of the page. You'll see Add to Application and Save for Later. And so hitting Save for Later adds the program to your ISEP account, and you can always come back and review it whenever you want when you go into your ISEP dashboard. And then hitting Add to Application will add it to your ISEP application that you're currently working on. And so now I'll hand it back over to my colleague Grace, and she's going to talk about the next parts of the ISEP application after you started adding programs.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. So once you add programs to the first tab on your program list, then you'll be able to go to the Academics tab where you will list the fields of study that you intend to take while you are abroad. You will see first, you will need to enter your academic level and language that you wish to take courses in while you are abroad. So for example, undergraduate in English, and then you will enter your field of study or fields of study, as well as subfields of study. Please keep in mind that you are not required to have subfields of study. However, we encourage you to do so if you see subfields of study that you are interested in. And you can add another field of study through the Add Another button at the bottom right-hand side. And you can also remove them if you add one that you wish to remove later on. And keep in mind that if you list fields of study here and you change your mind, you want to do another field of study while you are abroad, it is most likely possible. You can double check with your student services officer and your host university coordinator after you receive your placement. However, we encourage you to list as many fields of study here that you think you will be interested in taking while abroad. And if you do not see an area of study that you need through the options here, it means it is most likely not available through this program. However, we encourage you to double check with your student services officer to confirm. And then once you finish adding all of your fields of study, make sure they are all saved with the floppy disk icon underneath each line. And then you'll press Save and Continue at the bottom right-hand side of the page. Okay. So the third tab on the application is the Documents tab. So your first step is to upload your official transcript through the Add Files button underneath Upload Your Transcript. If you have any questions on how to obtain an official transcript from your home university, we encourage you to reach out to your home ISEP coordinator as soon as possible. For ISEP exchange programs, you will need to request an academic reference. To request an academic reference, you will click on the Request an Academic Reference button, and then you will fill in the information of the name and email address of a recent professor who is able to speak to your academic preparedness while you are abroad. And please note that students who apply only to ISEP Direct programs are not required to submit an academic reference. If you do have to do an academic reference, once the professor receives the reference, they will complete the reference and then it will populate back into the application and you will be able to see when the reference has been sent to that professor and when the reference was completed by that professor. And if you're applying for a program where you'll be taking courses in a foreign language, then you will be asked to complete a language evaluation for that language. So similar to the procedures for the academic reference, you will click on Request a Language Evaluation, where you will fill in the information of the name and email address of your most recent language professor for that language. And similarly, they'll be sent a language form to assess your language proficiency for that language. And once they complete that language proficiency evaluation, then you will be able to see the scores from that language proficiency evaluation in the Eligibility tab, which I will go more into in a moment. And if there are any additional documents that are requested of you for your program, you will be able to see those documents as listed in the special application instructions in the academic section on the program page, as well as we encourage you to review the other academic conditions listed underneath the academic section to make sure you meet all eligibility requirements and to see if there are any other additional documents that are asked of you. And for the language evaluation, you may also be asked to upload a writing sample. So please keep that in mind. Usually you're able to upload a writing sample from a language course for that language, or if you don't have one, then it will provide you more information on what you can include instead. Okay, so next to the eligibility tab. So here you will be able to enter your academic level while abroad. And if you are attending a U.S. institution, then you will enter your U.S. GPA. And then from the language evaluation, if you were asked to take a language evaluation, then you will see the scores that your professor evaluated you at. And then once you click to verify the above qualification button at the bottom of the page, you will be able to see, based on the programs that you added to your list, if you are eligible for those programs, and you will be able to see if you're not eligible for one of the programs, exactly what you're ineligible on. And if you also have to upload any additional English language tests, such as the IELTS or the TEFL, then you will also be able to upload your English test scores here. And then once you press save and continue, you'll be brought to the Biography tab. So in this section, you'll be asked to enter your passport information. If you do not currently have a passport, we encourage all students who are interested in going abroad for spring 2023 to go ahead and start renewing your passport or obtaining a passport as soon as possible. If you do not currently have a passport or you are currently in the process of renewing your passport, we kindly ask that you select no for do you currently have a passport. So we will be able to keep in mind that you are currently working on getting your passport, so we can send you reminders to send us an electronic copy of your passport as soon as possible. But if you submit your application without having a passport, it will not affect your application. Okay, and so the last tab of the application is the Other tab. So we encourage you in this tab to list any special needs or special accommodations that you will need to have at your host university. So things you may want to include are academic accommodations you will need, such as needing extra time for testing, mental health accommodations, such as specific medications or support services that you will need access to while abroad, or other medical accommodations or mobility accommodations that should be taken in mind in regards to housing, such as needing to be on the first floor, needing to have ramp accessibility, or needing to have an elevator in your housing. And so once you finish that section, you'll press save and continue, and then save application and exit. So once you save your application and exit, then you will be brought back to your application tab. So once you're able to submit your application, and you will see within your application, once each tab is complete, you will be able to see a blue check mark for each tab. So once you have all of those blue check marks and you're able to submit your application, you will see the submit button in the middle of the application box at the top. It will be orange instead of gray, and you will be able to submit your application. Once you submit your application, it will be sent to your home ISEP coordinator, who will be able to review your application and approve your application on behalf of your home university. Once your coordinator approves your application, you will pay your $100 application fee to finalize your submission. However, please keep in mind that some universities may bill you separately for your application fees, and you will be able to see each step that you have left to complete, as you can see here on the screen. And then once all steps are completed, you will see that your ISEP application has been submitted to ISEP. So as you see here, the remaining step is to, if applicable, pay your application fee, and you will make a payment through the Invoice and Payment tab on the left-hand side. And then once you make that payment, then you'll be able to see that your application has been submitted to ISEP. And please keep in mind that as our ISEP Exchange Priority Application date is September 15th for spring 2023 programs, that you must complete all of those steps in order to have your application considered fully submitted. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Rachel, who will discuss strategies for a competitive application.
Thank you, Grace. Oh, yes, we'll talk about some other strategies and great tips and tricks on how to make a good and flexible ISEP application. And so first, it's very important to understand our overall placement model. As mentioned before, we do have two types of programs. We have ISEP Direct and we have ISEP Exchange programs. So if you're interested in applying for an ISEP Direct program, your chances of being placed on that program, the one that you've chosen, is guaranteed as long as you meet the institution's minimum eligibility requirements. So you can just list that one program on your list without needing to build a preference ranking. However, for ISEP exchange programs, each program has a different number of space available, which impacts every applicant's chance of placement. And so the chances of placement for ISEP programs range from excellent to most competitive. And so as a quick reminder, students only get one placement at one institution, and we try our best to place students in their most preferred program, but specific placements can't be guaranteed on ISEP Exchange. So we recommend listing at least 3 to 5 programs that you'd like to attend and would be excited to attend. You can list up to 10 programs per term, but listing the maximum 10 sites is not required. You can list at least 3 to 5, and that would be the most ideal. And if you have a most competitive program that you'd like to attend and be considered for placement, then you must list it as number 1 on your list. And you can only have one most competitive program, and you will not be considered for placement at any most competitive sites that are below your number 1 spot. And so in order to make your application flexible, we also encourage you to aim to have 1 to 2 programs on your list that are a good or excellent chance of placement. And if you have questions on finding additional programs that are a good or better chance of placement that meet your needs, we have a filter in the program finder under more filters where you can look by chances of placement and you can click good and excellent. Or you can also ask your student services officer for assistance if you're looking for recommendations. Okay, and so overall, to maximize your chances of receiving a placement for where you want to go, we encourage first diversifying your program list and including as many programs as you'd be interested and willing to study abroad and that will meet your academic needs. So don't be afraid to take time and explore through the program finder. We have so many programs that are available. We definitely encourage you to use that time to find and explore and find different options that might be a good fit for you. If your home university allows students to apply for ISEP Direct programs, you should consider choosing an ISEP Direct program to guarantee your spot on a program. And definitely if one of your preferred universities offers an ISEP Direct program, ISEP Direct is the best way to ensure your spot there early since placements are given on a rolling basis after September 15th. So you should definitely consider if you have a specific university that you want to go to that's offered on an ISEP Direct program. We also recommend making sure to use the links in the course description of each program page to find past course catalogs and seeing which schools match your academic needs. You may not find the most recent or up-to-date course catalog, but you'll find past course catalogs that you can use to kind of get a good idea about the courses that might be offered for your specific field of study. So we definitely encourage researching that and looking through that as you're looking for programs. Additionally, if you have questions about financing your study abroad, whether you choose ISEP Exchange or ISEP Direct, you should definitely talk to your home university ISEP coordinator and see if they have any sort of resources for more ways to fund your study abroad. And so just to note, most financial aid can be applied for ISEP Exchange programs, but you should also confirm which kinds of aid, scholarships, and grants that you already receive can be applied if you do want to do an ISEP Direct program. And then lastly, you can always save a program you're interested in and you can save it onto your application for later by hitting that button at the bottom of the program page. And this is great if you see a program that you like and want to ask more questions to your ISEP student services officer or ask questions to your home coordinator to know if it would be a good fit for you. And you can always just save that before officially adding it to your list. Okay, and so we definitely went over a lot of great information and detailed information, but in case you still have questions on how to complete your ISEP application, we have our student services team who can help you. And so each one of us here covers a program in a specific region of the world. So if you have somewhere you're interested in, you can always feel free to reach out to that person for any specific country related questions.
All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and head into our breakout room so you can ask all of your specific questions directly to your student services officers. If you are interested in the United States, you'll be with Jackie today. You can ask Jackie any questions. This is if you're interested in studying in the US. Jackie, can you pop your link in the chat so they can go ahead and join your room? Great. So Jackie's link is there. If you're interested in staying in the US, go ahead and join that room to ask Jackie any questions. If you're interested in studying in Spain or Latin America, you'll be working with Kira. Kira, can you pop your link in the chat? Great. That's for Spain or Latin America. Next, if you're interested in the UK, Ireland, Australia, or New Zealand, you'll be with Honora. Honora, can you pop your link in the chat? Great. So Honora's link is right there if you're interested in studying in her region. Next, if you're interested in studying in continental Europe, you'll be with Grace. Grace, can you pop your link in the chat? Great, so you can go ahead and join Grace's room. Next, if you're interested in studying in France, Belgium, Switzerland, Africa, or the Middle East, you'll be with Gretchen. Gretchen, can you pop your link in the chat? And finally, if you're interested in studying in Asia, you'll be with Rachel. Rachel, can you put your link in the chat? Great. All right. If you need the link again to the room where you want to go, let me know, and I am happy to help you find the correct room. Anybody need help finding their correct breakout room?